All right, we will now hear from Darren Schmidt. Darren is the Assistant Director for the Energy, Oil and Gas at the EERC, where he leads a team focused on research, development, and commercialization related to efficient and clean fossil fuel production, carbon management, and renewable energy. Please help me welcome Darren Schmidt.
All right. It's an honor to be amongst friends and colleagues today and take a few moments to talk about the changes in our industry, the regulatory environment, and the impact of technology. I'm grateful for the people in our industry, the amazing work of the North Dakota Petroleum Council, the support of the EERC and the University of North Dakota, and the important work of the North Dakota Industrial Commission and our state legislators. My message today is to advocate through the Petroleum Council, influence technology, and impact North Dakota. So let's talk about change. There has been a significant increase in merger and acquisition activity, setting a record in 2023. According to Reuters, this activity is expected to continue into 2025, and there are indications of deals shifting away from Permian and two other shale plays such as Bakken. How is this activity affecting North Dakota? The production landscape is changing. Recently, about 75% of North Dakota's production was operated by 10 companies. With regards to present deal notifications, we are heading towards what I call a top 6 scenario, notably with 3 operators producing almost half of North Dakota's production. So what does this mean? Well, whether you take an optimistic or pessimistic view, the fact remains that direction and development of the resource will be under the decision-making of a few, at least for a while. Let's look at some macroscopic changes in our industry. Moreover, how unconventional development has changed our country. Prior to 2009, Gulf of Mexico offshore, conventional Texas oil fields, North Slope, Alaska, and believe it or not, California led our country's domestic oil production. Today, North Dakota and New Mexico rival offshore production, with unconventional Texas oil fields providing unsurpassed levels of domestic energy. Looking at natural gas, early U.S. resources included Texas, Gulf of Mexico, and Alaska. Around the time we were first discovering the shale revolution, indicated by the Barnett Shale on the graph, coal bed methane was becoming a critical domestic resource of natural gas. Today, Texas, Pennsylvania, Louisiana are the leading resources, followed by a host of states, notably with North Dakota as a top 10 producer of natural gas. What is so unique about North Dakota is that that gas is associated with oil production, unlike the giant dry gas shale plays. Compliance. Producers in the Bakken are achieving significant reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, methane, and improvements in environmental performance, really moving the needle and should be commended. Additionally, producers have set aggressive targets for near zero performance, elimination of routine flaring, and water sustainability. These corporate ambitions parallel the federal government compliance. The most recent methane rules published this year are, in short, to say it kindly, unprecedented. We are accustomed to federal regulations that set emission limits for criteria pollutants and require operating permits that allow for changing technology circumstances, otherwise referred to as best available control technology or maximum achievable control technology. The new methane rules go much further. The following are important aspects of the new methane rules, and I'll get a little bit granular here, but not too much. First, oil and gas facilities fall under the Code of Federal Regulations known as Quad O. Quad O and Quad OA were designed to address VOCs, sulfur dioxide, leak detection, and repair. The new rules, Quad OB and Quad OC, pertain to whether a facility is new versus existing, with new rules being a little more stringent. The new rules have created a super emitter program, which essentially deputizes third parties to report methane emissions exceeding 100 kilograms per hour. The objective of the new rules include the elimination of routine flaring, and although aligned with present industry ambition, there are no provisions for wildcat development in unexplored areas. A fee on methane emissions is imposed. First payments would be due the first quarter of 2025. There is some room for technology advancement and leak detection rules regarding monitoring frequency. Significant reporting is required for truck transfers. Pneumatic valves and controllers must be zero emission. New rules no longer consider storage tanks individually and require tallied in aggregate with respect to emission limits. A modification is not limited to physical change. Adding a well or re-stimulating can constitute a modification which would trigger Quad OB over Quad OC for existing facilities. Significant work has been added to P&A activity, and compressor stations fall under the new regulations with midstream having additional requirements as a result of the Pipes Act. These new rules have spurred legal action by the states where environmental groups argue they do not go far enough. All right, a little more positive. Let's talk about technology advancements. The industry is leading the way with technological innovations for sustainable practices, namely produced water. We are recycling produced water to stimulate oil production and minimize fresh water use. In North Dakota, a number of operators have ambitious plans to limit water intensity and use produced water. In particular, produced water reuse in North Dakota helps alleviate costs and reduces the load at our saltwater disposal facilities. The technology to use produced water has evolved. Lay-flat hose, which has revolutionized the access to fresh water, can now be used for produced water. The hose is double-lined and combined with real-time leak detection. The DMR, in recognition of the technology improvements, has streamlined the state's rules and simplified produced water utilization practices in the basin. Attention has gained momentum in other states in regards to produced water. Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado have all formed legislatively directed consortiums mostly focused on upgrading produced water to potable water. Colorado has begun requiring the industry to report freshwater use at every well and is anticipating a hearing at the end of this year, including a focus on recycling and reuse within the industry. This evolving environment underscores the importance of advocacy of the North Dakota Petroleum Council so that we can continue sensible practices in North Dakota that foster innovation over regulation. The EERC is developing technology to achieve near zero flaring. A completely new product is being developed for the industry that addresses the issues associated with conventional vapor recovery. The table demonstrates where the federal government is emphasizing research funding and suggests where operators may influence federal investments in technology direction. The EERC has been successful at directing a portion of these federal funds to meaningful projects in our industry through our Bakken Production Optimization Program. iPipe is innovation over regulation. And I'm proud to report that our industry has delivered on the state's investment in this program. iPipe has experienced 3 rounds of funding referred to as 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. During 1.0, we invested heavily in satellite technology and delivered. A significant producer in the basin is utilizing the technology and finding the leaks we can't see. These are the pinhole leaks that evade detection, which what we call the holy grail of detection. We're achieving that. And most importantly, we're finding those leaks first. In iPipe 2.0, we turned our focus to produced water systems, which typically don't get the same investment attention of oil pipeline systems. Today, computational pipeline monitoring and artificial intelligence are deployed on 3 produced water systems in the basin, and that's expected to grow. The company that committed to the development said they would not have done it without iPipe, and I just think that's an incredible achievement in such a short amount of time. Our focus has shifted to methane in iPipe 3.0 with 3 aerial projects with various sensor packages. And I ask you to please join us in having an impact in North Dakota on that technology front. In closing, I'll say again, advocate through the Petroleum Council, do research, influence technology, and impact North Dakota. Look forward to it. I enjoy working with the operators in this basin and all our partners, and look forward to gathering a few more. Thank you. Appreciate it.